Hello, my Bar None Nation. This is Chris, and of course, this is my channel, Bar None 11970. And we got ourselves another unscheduled live show. I really like talking about these and doing these live shows. People seem to appreciate it, and gives people an opportunity to be able to listen to what I say if it resonates with you, and able to do your regular activities during the day. So, if I can make things easier, to me, that's a beautiful thing. What I want to talk about today is the fact that if you see a lot of the videos I've been doing recently, it's all about self-discovery, paying attention to your surroundings, knowing what's going on, and learning from things that present themselves. And the more you have things present yourself to where you're paying attention to them, the more you start seeing how you could solve puzzles. And our lives we've been trained to basically look for outside help. Either it's governments or religion or medicines or alcohol or therapy, things like that. Now, all of those are good, and I'm not going to say they're evil or anything like that, but we tend to not learn how to deal with things ourselves and looking at ourselves from the inside. Because, I mean, as good as a therapist is, and I recommend it for people who need it or feel that they need it, nobody knows you better than yourself. And the more power we give to other people, the less power we hold ourselves. And we end up being reliant on others to take care of us for even the most minuscule problems. We kind of get used to that. And you see even how countries and governments work that way, where they basically say, don't worry, we got you, we'll take care of you. And if they were benevolent, that would be a good thing. But we see more and more people are getting sick. More and more people are getting depressed. More and more people are getting angry. And things are not going closer to a utopian state. It's getting further and further away to more of a totalitarian state. So as much as it seems like here we're giving you nice things, we're helping you, we're too dependent on others to help ourselves. And that's something we have to get back to. The more things that present themselves to me and the more I pay attention to them, the more I see patterns. And one of the things on my entire time on YouTube, and I've been on YouTube now since 2010. I started out just making funny cartoon little comedy sketches, and that didn't work. I started then showing some of my silver and gold coin collection. Then I started talking about the silver, learning about the quote-unquote manipulation, getting into all other things. So I've definitely progressed, sometimes regressed. But throughout my time here, I've realized that I spend a lot of my energy trying to comfort others, trying to help people, almost trying to feel like, not forcefully, but like interjecting and saying, here, this will help. And unless somebody asks for it, it shouldn't be anybody's place to say, here, this is what you need. And maybe I needed to find that, because I found the more I was trying to help people, the more energy came back saying to do your own thing. And what I thought was being helpful ended up being hurtful to others in some way, shape, or form. Now, I don't understand how that happens when the intent is good, but again, as I've said in many videos, you can't control what other people do, think, or see, or assume, or resonate with. You can only control what you do. You can make suggestions to people which direction that you want them to go. But unless you force them, they're going to choose their own way. Same thing with words and advice and things that you may think are beneficial. Somebody else may misinterpret what you say, or they might hear somebody else contradict what you say, and people will draw their own conclusions. You cannot control that. The more you trust yourself and you trust your instincts and you pay attention to the surroundings that are given to you to show you things, the more you pay attention to it instead of ignoring it, the better it will eventually be. Now, that doesn't mean, oh, I recognize a problem, snap your fingers, it's gone. No. When you have a puzzle presented, you have to take the time to put the pieces together, and it takes a while before you can formulate a picture. So it's not like it's a magical thing when you snap your fingers, all problems are solved. Climb a ladder, you have to take it one step at a time. But you haven't noticed, the more we try and pretend things are not there, the worse they seem to get. That whole ignore it, it will go away. Has that worked? Probably not. And I mean, I'll give you a prime example. Take your teeth. Don't brush them. Don't take care of them. Don't clean them. They'll go away. Now, is that a good thing? Probably not, unless you enjoy eating from a straw. So my point is, we've basically been conditioned all our lives to either pray to some god or go to some therapist or have governments help us, always seeking that Superman figure to come save the day. Now, here's the ironic part, because especially, and I think this is the reason why I got back into comics. People might think, oh, that's silly and everything, but there's so many different things that correlate with each other. It's actually kind of amusing, and it shows that there was actually a purpose. Of all the things I could have gone back to, I chose something that helped me understand on a deeper level more about myself. If you notice about comics, and especially the comic book movies recently, Superman has been almost seemed like to be the anti-hero in a way. And if you think about it, let's say Superman was here on this planet and he was sincere about wanting to help everybody. He can't be everywhere at once. So if he is somewhere around the world saving somebody from falling off of a tree and another person he saves from a nuclear explosion, there's going to be thousands of others that he can't save. So just imagine if we had a world where there was Superman, and Superman, your child is drowning, and let's hope that never happens. And there is a boat of children drowning somewhere else, and he decides to save those children more. Your baby, God forbid, drowns and dies. You're going to be mad at Superman, aren't you? Now, just imagine if you dove in the water and tried to save the child yourself instead of waiting for somebody else. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it's better chances than relying on others. And I think in this world of kind people, I'm saying this to kind people because cruel people and evil people and people that hurt others, they don't get it. They don't resonate. They're going to stay stagnant. They have a black hole where their heart is that can never be filled. And hopefully one day they will get tired of feeling the same way and say, this is the day I decide to go in a different direction. But the people I find that have the good hearts, the good nature, we tend to care about others, which is a good thing. But a lot of times we do it at our own expense. Because being here on this planet, we only have a limited amount of energy before it expires. That's why we pass on. Where we go, I haven't been there yet. I can't guarantee and say what it is. But there's got to be somewhere. Because if you came from nothing, that doesn't make sense. You had to come from somewhere. You can't have something that doesn't exist and all of a sudden it has a life force from nothing and then just disappears into nothing again. That doesn't make sense to me. So I do believe we go somewhere. But while the time that we're here experiencing this third dimensional plane, for whatever reason why we're here, and philosophers have been asking those questions for centuries, we have a limited amount of energy. Otherwise, we'd be here forever. So the more we give our energy to others, the more it robs us of our own life force. And we become, instead of at ease, we develop dis-ease or disease. Now, that's not the only reason why we get these. I'm not going to sit here and say that's how you get sick. But it is part of the equation. And the more we look in ourselves and trust ourselves, and instead of always just thinking about things, but trusting our feelings. You ever notice that, like in Star Wars, when they talk about the Force, they're always saying, let go, trust your feelings. Your eyes may deceive you. Luminous beings are we. If you want to think those are just quotes from a movie, that's perfectly fine. I'm not here to make anybody believe or not believe in something that doesn't resonate with them. That's what my channel has become. It's me expressing my thoughts to an audience of people who either resonate or at least want to listen to what I say. You make up your own mind. But the more I tried to give myself to help others, the more I realized it wasn't happening the way I would like it to. People have said things about me that are not true, and others have believed those things without verification. That is something I cannot control. And for a while, I tried to be like the fireman putting out all the fires. When I've now come to the conclusion that because I cannot control what other people do or how they interpret things or their own mindset, instead of me trying to say, no, you're wrong, here's why, I just let them go and say, okay, you have the right to think or decide to be any way you want. Think about me in any way you want. Think about life any way you want. I'm not here to live your life. And now what I'm doing is wishing those people the best of luck, the best of health, and the best on their journey. And if they ever need a friend, I'll be there if they need me. And in a way that it kind of, it's nice to pay attention to things that keep being presented. And even though I teach about this stuff and many people appreciate it, every teacher will always continue to learn. The beautiful thing about an infinite universe is there's an infinite amount of information. Like Socrates once said, the more you know you know nothing. And that makes more sense as you learn things, because if you're ignorant, there's not a lot to learn because you're not out there trying to search. So when people point out things that do not resonate with you, your first response is to be resistant because you don't know about it, nor do you want to know about it. Again, that's your own responsibility. You could see a door that says radioactive material. You can walk in there based on the fact that you don't believe it. You can walk in and not see the radiation, not smell it, not even know it's there. Doesn't mean it's not going to affect you. So there's a reason why we feel. Now, obviously, you cannot draw me a picture of a feeling. You don't know where it comes from. Science still does not really know where feelings generate. They can have ideas, but you've never seen a picture and say, oh, here's what envy looks like. Here's what hatred looks like. They can give you an idea, but they don't really know. So there has to be a purpose behind this, something that we cannot prove, we cannot see, we don't know where it is, but yet we still feel it. Shows that there are things outside of this world that we don't understand, that are things that we cannot see, but we still feel are there. And the more truthful you are to your feelings, the better you will be in life. Because, like, for example, if you're in a relationship that you're not happy with, it doesn't matter how much you pretend, it doesn't matter how much you lie or convince yourself. If you're not happy, you're going to show it. Because you don't feel the love you try and portray to someone or someone's. And you're not being honest with yourself, and it hurts, and the pain makes you feel, because when you feel pain, you react to pain. And we all react differently. Maybe we get depressed, maybe we get to drugs and alcohol, maybe we seek professional help. Maybe some people turn around and turn it into good and say, well, I'll take that negative energy and turn it into a painting or a creation or an invention, or you donate to a charity, or you build something. Ultimately, it depends on what you choose to do. And again, you cannot control what others think. And I think in this world, we're so worried about what other people think about us, we forget about what we think about us. And there's nothing wrong with looking in the mirror and saying, I'm happy with who I am. Because I hate to break it to anybody out there, nobody is perfect in this world. We all have flaws, we all make mistakes, but you notice, like, for example, Hollywood, they're always trying to hide their mistakes, trying to appear perfection, airbrushing their pictures, getting facelifts and plastic surgery, always wearing the most fancy of clothes. It's almost like they're ashamed of who they are. And that instead of appreciating what you were born with, you want to always change it. That's not being true to yourself. Now, obviously, you have the right to do that. But think about that. Are those the type of people you wish to emulate? And it doesn't matter if you have 5 million followers or 6 million friends. You can have 6 million friends that do absolutely nothing for you, but you can have one person in your life that will do everything for you. I guarantee you that one person means more than the 5 million. So I wish well to all of those that I've tried my best to help. Now, again, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I will make mistakes. I base things on my intention. And sometimes we say things that maybe sounded good as we were saying them, or we were caught in the moment and had passion or anger or frustration or what have you. But if your intent is to be benevolent, which it means benevolence is goodness, then you can live with what happens because, again, you cannot control what other people do. And I find it amazing to be able to have situations that maybe once got me angry or frustrated or whatever kind of emotion, and I turn it into something that is beneficial. Means it has a purpose. So everything in your life, whether it's major or minor, if you react to it, there's a purpose behind it. And the more you pay attention to it, and the more you listen to it, and the more you try and solve it, the better chances of going in the direction you really want to be in. Yep, sorry. Cat just knocked over something. So it's hard when you're alone. It's hard when you're depressed. It's hard when you don't know where to go, where the same things keep happening. And believe me, I know. But the more you work at it, the better you can improve it. Like I've said on my other channel, I don't know if I've said it here, I lost one of my DJ jobs. I had a tenant that used to live upstairs. They moved away, and that took a lot of income out of my life. Now, I'm not on welfare, and I never will be. I don't want handouts. I had to sacrifice a lot of things in my life, bare minimums, so I can get past it. I've been trying to get other DJ jobs. I also, if you know, I'm also a massage therapist. I've been doing my best when I have clients to sell them package deals to make a little money. My wife has been helping me here and there when she can. So I've been able to get by. And I'm okay with that. I don't need to have, as much as I would love to have millions of dollars, I don't need it to be happy or be me. So there have been some struggles lately, but I've been able to float by without having government handouts. Not easy, and I'm not saying that's for everybody. There are plenty of people out there that need that to survive, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're one of those people who can work and is able, and you rely on others to take care of you in every way possible, it hurts yourself in the long run. You go by what you can do to survive. But my thing has always been, you will always get what you give. It may not be noticeable right away. You know, you echo into the Grand Canyon, it doesn't come back instantly. So things can take time. But if you continually have the same situations happen over and over again, and you notice they start getting worse and worse to the point where you feel down, you feel depressed, you feel angry, you feel frustrated, you feel anything negative, it's life basically saying, here's something that you need to solve, and ignoring it is not going to benefit you. So I'm going to make it worse and worse until you have to pay attention and you have to fix it, and then it will be gone. If you look at it that way, then that means someone or something cares about you enough to present something to you that they feel or it feels that's so important for you to get past that it doesn't give up on you. And if you think of it from it that way, you might look at it a little differently. Because just imagine if you're in a, and I hope this never happens, because unfortunately it happened to my father, but let's say you're in a burning building and you're trapped, and the firemen are trying to get to you. Now, if they give up and say, well, it's just too difficult, I can't do it, I don't want to get burned myself, what do you think's going to happen to you? Probably going to die. But just imagine if one of those firemen said, you know what, I don't care if I get burned. I don't care if it's difficult. I am going to do everything in my power, and I'm not going to give up until that person is out of that building safe. Now, you might have been burned a little bit. You might have had some smoke inhalation. You might have been scared to death thinking this is the end because you don't think anybody's coming to help you. And at the last second, a man bursts through the flames and pulls you out, and you just make it out alive. If you look at life that way, when the negative things happen, because we react to negativity, whether we appreciate it or not, you will react more to negative things than positive things. Because if somebody gives you a compliment, you'll say thank you, but you don't need to change anything. If somebody says, oh, I like your hair, and everybody says, oh, your hair looks so wonderful, you're not going to change it. You're going to say thank you, appreciate that, but you're going to keep it. There's no growth. You stay the same. But if a bunch of people say, oh my God, that's the ugliest hairstyle I've ever seen, and people make fun of you, and people laugh at you, and your family is mocking you, what happens? Well, you could get depressed, you could do bad things to yourself, which I don't recommend, or you might change it. Now, if you like it, then it doesn't matter what anybody else says. But let's say they're saying it in the kindness of their hearts because maybe you're going to try and apply for a very professional business. You're going for a job interview, and you have this punk rock kind of hairstyle that just will not go with the business you want to go to. And your family is trying to tell you, you really need to fix that. I know you might like it, it might be in style, but if you're serious about the job that you want, you have to be a little bit more professional. That's not going to do it. And maybe they might not say it that way and kind of harshly hurt you, because you only hurt the ones you love. If you change it, and then you get the job because of the change, well, then the negativity was something positive in the long run. But most of us, when we have negativity approach us, and I felt it myself, we get defensive, we get angry, we get depressed, we get sad. It's an emotion. All emotions come and go. You have not had the same emotion since you were a child. You will not have whatever emotion you have now forever, good or bad. There is the yin and the yang, the negative and positive, the light and the dark. It's all about balance. Too much of anything is bad for you. I'll give you a prime example. According to my analytics here, probably about 85% of the people that listen to me are men. So I'm going to gear this towards the men. Let's say, guys, you have the chance to have unstoppable sex with nothing but hundreds of beautiful women that just want you all day, every day. Now, when you first hear that, you think, oh, that would be a dream come true. I mean, I can have gorgeous women, anybody they want, they throw their feet on me, and I can have sex all day. Sounds great, doesn't it? Well, how do you think you're going to feel after hour 36? You're probably going to be very sore. You're probably going to be very tired. You haven't had the chance to eat or drink, so you're going to be dehydrated and hungry. You're probably going to be incredibly sore. And eventually you would die. Now, I'm sure some guys would say, oh, what a way to go. But notice what I'm saying? You'd probably last maybe 3 days tops before you died of exhaustion. So even something that may sound initially amazing could end up the old, be careful what you wish for, you might get it. So it has to be in moderation. It has to be in balance. And if you're a person that is angry all the time or hostile all the time, it's going to eat you alive. And instead of taking that anger out on other people for your own amusement or for your own sense of your control, if you just put out the fire, you're not only not hurting someone else, you're helping yourself and the ones who love you. Because if you have a life where you're hurting others for whatever reason, if you don't think that affects the people around you and how they view you, well, I hate to tell you this, a lot of them don't say it, but you'll know by their deeds you shall know them. So I hope people, when they want to treat themselves better, that they realize it all comes from within. You're Dorothy. You have the power to go home all along. You're Superman. Nobody can change you but you. Now, obviously, other people's advice can help you make a better decision. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why there is, like I said earlier, even therapy and things like that. It is good for people. Sometimes they need to be pointed out. If you're driving in a car and you don't have a GPS and you're lost, there's nothing wrong with asking directions. But if every 5 seconds you're stopping to ask somebody else and telling you which way to go because you're afraid to go on your own, that's where you have to be careful. You will always find your way once you lose the fear. Darkness is just the absence of light, nothing more. It's not as scary as the movies and media and everything tries to make it. I guarantee you, if you walk down in your basement at night, unless you trip on something, there's nothing there to hurt you. Fear is a condition we have been taught. And like I said in the other video the other day, not all fear is bad. Some fear is to keep you safe. Some fear is excitement. So it's all about your perception. And I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to make the video too long, but I love doing these videos, especially when something has been presented my way. And I hope you all, or at least one of you, appreciate what I try and teach, and I hope it resonates with you, even if it's just a minuscule part of it. Because if we keep going in the direction of worrying about what everybody always thinks about us, and worrying about how everybody reacts to us, and wondering if everybody's going to like us, and we don't love ourselves, you don't want to get to the point of vanity, where you think you're better than anybody else. You are equal. Everybody is equal. For some reason, some feel that they are better than others, when we are all human beings. Don't ever forget that, whether you're black or white or red or yellow or green or blue, doesn't matter. You are a human being, and if you're blue, you might be a Smurf. But my point is, once we let go of the labeling of people and just realize we're all humans, maybe we'll get back to that utopia that we maybe came from at one point. If we all keep thinking we're separate, and some are better than others because they have more paper fiat currency than someone else, when that's just nothing more than a scam anyway, that's vanity. We're equal. We are here to experience life in different ways. That's what makes you special. It's the fact that you're not like everybody else. And you notice they're trying to get you to all think you have to fit in a certain way and be a certain type and wear the certain thing and think the certain way. How can you express your individuality if you're so worried about what other people think and you're so worried about trying to fit in? Who gives a damn what anybody else thinks about you? That doesn't mean anything in your life. And yet, so many people try so hard to please others and say the right thing and fit in and wear what everybody else is wearing, instead of embracing their individuality and saying, I was put on this planet, in this earth, in this universe to experience things from my own personal experience. I'm not a robot. Robots get programmed. Robots all look the same. You ever see any movie where they have a bunch of robots? They all pretty much look and act the same. Is that what you want to be? Because that's where we're headed. Whether you call that paranoid or not, look at the reality of things. We're losing our individuality. Now, if we were all unifying to become one loving consciousness, where we all loved one another, then I would say that's a great thing. But does the world in general seem happier, more loving, more caring? Or is it quite the opposite? Not everything that unifies is good. So I want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen to this. I don't know if it's rant or if it's just a vlog. But if you appreciate it and you want to give it a thumbs up, that's great. If you want to thumb it down because you didn't like what I said, that's your choice. I used to let it affect me. Now, it's just somebody's opinion. Just like somebody might have an opinion about you. Just because they call you ugly or heavy or stupid or any negative content doesn't mean it's true unless you believe it. And even if, for example, you're overweight, if you don't want to be overweight anymore, do your best and try and fix it. If somebody calls you stupid, well, study more and you won't be. There's always ways to fix things instead of us letting it affect us to the point where we prove them right. Don't ever prove somebody that has negativity in their heart. Don't ever prove them right. Prove them wrong just for your own personal satisfaction. Work hard at it. Use that passion. Wake yourself up. Doesn't always guarantee success, but at least you have a fighting chance, and I hope you take it. So this is Chris. This is Barnum 11970. I hope you appreciated another one of my little vlog videos. I'd love to hear your comments. I may not always respond, but I do read them and I do appreciate them. So thank you for being a part of this. If this is the first video, if you want to hit the subscribe button and be a part of my channel, I have hundreds of videos that hopefully can help you learn or at least keep you entertained. So thank you for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful and safe day. Peace.